All right, road to Sheffield, day number 2. Um, Today was a bench day. I will go through what I hit on bench today and what that looked like. But first, I have a topic that I want to talk about as a coach, someone who's relatively knowledgeable in the fitness industry. Um, I am certified as a personal trainer. I have many years' experience in the gym as well as I coach clients, right? Um, what is the number one most important thing for a beginner powerlifter, right? So many powerlifters get in the gym. Obviously, they want to get stronger, right? They enjoy getting stronger. That's what they want to do, right? So they go in the gym, they bench, squat, deadlift all the time. That's awesome. That's great. But there's something that realistically you should be more focused on, and that is actually, believe it or not, hypertrophy, which also like building muscle, right? Same thing. Um, the reason that you need to focus on hypertrophy as a beginner powerlifter is because you see all of these good powerlifters, right? And they might not do hypertrophy training, right? They might never do hypertrophy training. Why? It's because they already have the size. They don't need to, right? But with strength training, there is the neurological adaptation part of it, like training like a skill, right? Training your bench, your squat, your deadlift like a skill, training it often, right? That is important. But in fact, the biggest determinant of how strong you are is actually how much muscle mass you have on your frame, right? So this is the reason too, like you see powerlifters who, they'll stay in a weight class for a long time. They'll be really cutting themselves down, not really make much progress in that weight class, and then they'll jump weight classes, and all of a sudden, after they jump weight classes, it's like they just put a crazy amount of weight on their total. It's because they allowed their body to grow, they allowed to put on more muscle, which is what inevitably is going to cause you to be stronger in the future. It should be your number one focus, most definitely if you're a beginner powerlifter. Even if you're an intermediate powerlifter, hypertrophy is very, very important, right? It is something that you most definitely don't want to overlook, right? Today I had bench, but I also had ab and spinal erector accessories, sorry. Two things that those are overlooked. They're boring. Like when I was in the gym, I really didn't want to do them, right? But it's like something that as a beginner powerlifter, if you want to be the best powerlifter you can be, it's something that's really important to do. And if your coach is programming that stuff for you and you are not doing them, you are going to really struggle as a powerlifter. And, your coach is going to wonder, like, what's going wrong? Like, I don't understand. But then it's like you're not doing what he programmed for you to do, right? So, getting size on as a beginner powerlifter is so important, and it's why you see people start as bodybuilders, people start as football players, or people who came from other sports who already have good muscle mass transfer really well to powerlifting, because once you have the muscle mass, like all you really have to do is practice powerlifting, practice squat, practice deadlift, practice bench, right? You don't actually have to really put a bunch of muscle on your frame. That's the hardest part. It's what takes the longest, right? It's why it takes so long to get strong, because realistically, the only way to put muscle on is to go to the gym, right? Practice. Or, sorry, not practice, sorry. That's a different thing. Go to the gym, lift, train hard, eat a lot of protein, recover, right? Like, and it just takes time, right? Over, time you'll put on a little bit of strength, which, depending on your weight, obviously if you're going up in weight a ton, that might contribute. But if you're staying around the same weight and you're stronger, that most certainly means that you've put on at least a little bit of muscle mass. Some strength is a little bit different. But if you're staying the same weight and you're putting on strength, you are putting on muscle mass. I promise you that. It's also good. I love as a beginner powerlifter, like kind of why I'm making these videos, right? As part of it is to like actually see your physique and look at it and be like, okay, I weighed this much in this, I weighed this much in this, like, but I just look so much more muscular, right? That's important stuff for you to keep track of as a beginner, because you want to know that your program is working, And that's the number one thing that you should be doing. Now, don't get me wrong, this stuff is taking time, right? You can't look at it in days, you can't look at it in weeks. It's months of time, maybe even a year, right? That you want to look back and see, like, okay, have I put muscle mass on my frame? And if you haven't, as a beginner powerlifter, you're going to have to figure something out, because realistically speaking, you are going to struggle to hit the numbers that you should be able to hit with your genetics, right? That's also very important, right? You might not have the genetics to be able to be the next, Russell or he or whatever, right? Whatever powerlifter you look up to, right? You might not have those genetics. You might not be able to push it. But if you want to get as strong as you can possibly be, putting on the size first is the most important part. You can strength train, don't get me wrong, obviously I benched today. I strength train all the time. It's what I love, it's what I'm here for. I love it, right? It's why I chose to powerlift. But without putting on size, I'm kind of just spinning my wheels, right? I'm kind of just lifting. I'm getting some neurological adaptation. I might get slightly stronger, but I'm not really putting on the strength I want to. And it's ultimately because I'm not doing the stuff that I need to do to be my best powerlifter, right? If I'm not training for hypertrophy, that's, it's not what you're not training to be the best you can, right? So now, that's going to be it for the coaching part. So I'm just going to go over my bench day today. So today I wanted to record footage. Unfortunately, I brought my camera and stuff. It was busy in the gym. I don't want to be disrespectful. Please do not be disrespectful to people if you go to a commercial gym. But I did on bench, I did 220 by 4, paused, of course, at RP 9 for my top set. And I also, this is important if you go to a commercial gym as well. Today, I used a 29 millimeter power bar at my gym, right? It has more tensile strength, which means it's not as whippy, it's a little bit wider. That bar is going to be pretty significantly harder to use than like a 28 millimeter Olympic bar or something, or a deadlift bar, right? Bars that have less tensile strength and a little bit more whippy, or are a little bit thinner, are going to be a little bit easier to use on bench, right? So it's kind of those things. If you're going to a commercial gym, it may seem kind of stupid to be like, oh, I'm tracking, the bar, right? Like the width of the bar. But those things actually do matter at the end of the day, right? Now, I wouldn't say like, oh, like this is a new PR with this bar or whatever, but like if you are lifting, like just note down what bar you're using. And if you start to notice like every time I use this bar, I'm getting less reps than this bar, then that bar is probably harder, right? And that's going to be the wider bars. My gym they have 29 millimeter bars, and they have 28 millimeter bars, and then they have power bars and Olympic bars, right? Power bars have a little bit of a higher tensile strength, which means that they're less whippy. So when you go off the chest, right, you bounce up, or, well, not bounce because it's paused, right, but you explode off of the chest. It's just not going to whip up as much compared to a power bar. It's going to be stiffer. The weights are going to stay there, right? Especially if you are someone like me who benches with more explosive form. So it's, there's different benches. Some people go a little wider and they usually go a little slower, right? And then they touch and then boom. But me personally and a lot of other lifters go down to the chest and explode, right? Those things are a little bit more important in that case scenario, and it's important to track that stuff as a powerlifter because you need to know if you are getting stronger, if you're getting bigger, if your program is going according to plan, right? So, I'll have another video next week in the next 6 days where I'm benching. Hopefully I have footage for that one, but I might use the 29 millimeter power bar again. I might use a 28 millimeter bar, and obviously the reps are going to be way different if I do that, right? It's kind of, at the end of the day, important, right? It's important to track, and it's kind of the way things go if you're in a commercial gym, right? If you're in a powerlifting gym, that's great, and you can use the same bar every time. You can use calibrated plates, like that's the dream scenario. But realistically, like for me, I can afford a powerlifting gym, and there's not a powerlifting gym in my area, right? So if you're like me and you lift at a commercial gym as a powerlifter, these things are important to track, especially because, if you go to a commercial gym, I pull up to the benches. There's 4 benches in my gym. 3 of them are being used. I kind of have to use the bar that's on the bench. Like, I can't just like go swap out the bars. Like, I'm using the bar on the bench. And it is important too as a powerlifter to know, like, you have no more access to the equipment at a commercial gym than anyone else, right? Just because they're lifting for general fitness or whatever, and you're lifting for powerlifting, does not mean you're more elite. It does not mean that you have more access to equipment. It doesn't mean that, you're cooler than them, right? Like, everyone has just as much access. In fact, powerlifting itself, awesome sport. I love it. There's millions of people out there that love it. Actually, I don't know. It's a pretty small sport, but whatever, right? People love powerlifting. It's a great sport, but ultimately some people are at the gym because, they have serious health issues, or they're there because they want to be able to like play with their kids, or they struggle to actually go through everyday life, or they're in pain in everyday life. Like, people are there for more important reasons than you are as a powerlifter, and it's important to know that. It's important to not feel entitled to the equipment. Trust me, I go to the gym, I get pissed off, if people are using the equipment I want, but like, it doesn't mean I'm entitled to the equipment, right? I get a little upset in my mind, oh, I want to use that bar, I want to use those plates, whatever, and I can't. But ultimately, I don't have any more access than they do. They're allowed to do whatever they want at the gym that they pay for. That, like, just remind yourself as a powerlifter, and I struggle with this too, that it's like, you are just as important to the gym, or, at the gym as everyone else. In fact, if anything, less, right? So, let's see, what do I got else today? I think that might be it for day 2. Yeah. I'll have a push day coming tomorrow, so you'll be able to see, some of the upper body for the first time on the channel. It'll be posted. Of course, I'll be recording, just here whenever. I won't have any footage from my push day, even though if you actually watch this and you want to see me lifting, on a hypertrophy day in the gym, it would be nice to let me know, because currently I'm planning on just like, coming home, showing off my physique. I don't plan on recording any accessories because that's kind of the boring stuff as a powerlifter, but it's important, right? So I have my push day tomorrow for hypertrophy, and then I'll have deadlifts very soon, which is exciting because I'll definitely be able to film deadlifts because there's so much space. I train at Vasa, there's so much space, in the platform area. I'll for sure be able to film those. Those are also my best lift. So I will probably be doing 410, I believe. But we'll have to see on the day, warm up, see how I'm feeling. I've had some hamstring issues recently, but also, as a result of a surgery like a year ago, right? So, we'll see. But yeah, I think that'll be it for day 2 of Road to Sheffield. Great workout today. You'll see my mood in these videos. It fluctuates depending on how good of a workout I have. Sometimes I get pissed off and like, oh, this workout sucked. But yeah, today's just a yap session. No footage for bench. It is what it is. I wanted to film, but sometimes you can't in a commercial gym. Sometimes you can't use the equipment you want. Sometimes you can't film what you want. Whatever. It's kind of just the sacrifice you make and go into a commercial gym. So I will be getting deadlift footage though, which is exciting. Deadlift is by far my best lift. It's not even close, right? So that'll be fun. A little washed up athlete deadlifting. I'll post that on Instagram or whatever too, probably. That's me. I used to play football, right? So I consider myself like a washed up athlete that's now a powerlifter, which is, it's kind of funny because that's kind of actually how most powerlifters start, even the best ones. So yeah, I'll see you I'll be posting tomorrow for day number 3 of Road to Sheffield. Good start to the series, you know, whatever. We're just grinding, right? This is the point where no one's really watching. Maybe, you know, my last video had a couple of views. That was shocking to me. I did not expect that. But this is the point where I'm just going to be grinding. No one's really watching, right? Maybe a couple people. I appreciate all of you, by the way, if you are actually watching this. You know, no one's really watching. It's time to like grind, really get the hypertrophy going, really work on my form. You know, every day I take pre-workout. I can show you pre-workout containers. I might do that for a video. I take, you know, electrolytes every day. You know, I eat well. I go to the gym every day, which, you know, if you're a powerlifter, you might not want to go to the gym every day. But ultimately, I think if you can't make whatever split you want work as a coach, you should probably hire a new coach, because every split works. You can squat, bench, deadlift every day if you want to, right? You just have to manage the load and the fatigue correctly. So that'll be it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with a push day showing off the chest, triceps, whatever. You'll get to see how fat I am for the first time. Definitely fluffy. Definitely a powerlifter, you know. Even though I'm only, like, I weighed 185 this morning. So if I won't be competing anytime soon. But when I do compete, I'll probably be competing as an 83 for the first time. So, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this. Sorry, last time. That's it. The video's over. All right, I'm done. I'm done recording.